Good morning. Good
Good
morning, Ronnie. How are you
morning,
doing
Ilya.
today?
Fine, thank you.
Great. Thank you for coming. We're also pleased that you agreed on our invitation, and we're so happy to see you here. So today we're going to ask you some questions about your opera career, about your piece of advice that you can give to us, and maybe some personal questions as well. So, guys, we're going to talk to our guest. I'm going to be talking to our guest, like maybe 30, 40 minutes. And I will ask him several questions, and maybe some of your personal questions will be covered as well. And after that, you will have your own time. You can ask him. I hope he doesn't mind. And so let's get started. And my first question is quite personal, if you don't mind. Could you please tell me how you came to opera? Was it always a goal, or it happened just by accident?
Okay, I'm going to take the scenic route in this question because it tells a lot about my personal story in music. I became acquainted with opera at a young age, not personally, not specifically opera, but lyric singing, because my grandmother was a very big fan of Plácido Domingo, Alfredo Kraus,
Mm-hmm.
and Alfredo Sadel, a Venezuelan tenor, both for their popular music albums. Yeah, Sole Mio, Granada, this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of
Mm-hmm.
music was always in my house, and I used to sing to the records. But it was like the music of my grandma. It was never like a big deal for me. In that time, I liked rock very much, and that was the
Mm-hmm.
music I liked. So opera was not my goal, but when I was 17 years old and I was lead guitarist and vocalist of a heavy metal band, my girlfriend of the time, she dragged me to a presentation of Cantata Criolla. That's the biggest choral symphonic work that has made in my country. It's like a huge choir, a huge orchestra, like more than
Mm-hmm.
200 people on scene, and two soloists, a baritone and a tenor. And when the baritone went out, I was very impressed. I was looking for the microphone because that guy was like really going over a
Like real
huge
loud.
mass. Exactly, a huge mass of sound is this kind of voices that hit you in the chest and stick you to the chair. So I went out of that theater obsessed with this kind of music because for me the goal was to be the best singer I could be. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
care too much about the genre, and I saw that what these guys did was the top of the top that the human voice can do. So then I become interested in opera, and I started pursuing my path as an opera singer.
And how old were you when you started? Like you said, 17?
In 17, it started my ambition to be opera singer,
Mm-hmm.
but in my country it's very difficult. I come from Venezuela, it's a country in South America. So there is
Mm-hmm.
not a platform for young singers to sing in a theater or to do opera studio or basically nothing. You can be
Mm-hmm.
a choir singer or you can be a violinist player or an orchestra player. But for soloists, it's very difficult. So I continue this time with pop music, singing ballads and everything. I even make music for one telenovela in my country and this kind of stuff. And when I had like enough recognition and money, I thought to myself that maybe now is the time. I took my things and I came to Europe to make auditions and stuff because I thought I was prepared. Was
Cool.
very very far from the truth, but the naivete of ignorance. I came to the Opera of Rome to make an audition for the opera studio. In the
And you
meantime,
accepted.
I was accepted a month later because they make the audition, and a month later we
Uh-huh.
began the study. But I didn't took that because in the meantime, while I was waiting for the response from the opera studio in Rome, I went to Bulgaria to make an audition with
Mm-hmm.
Maestra Raina Kabaibanska, and she accepted me right away, and she gave me a scholarship and everything. And so I didn't
Wow.
went to Rome; I went to her.
So, and you didn't regret about that for sure, right?
No.
Oh, cool.
She's a legend of the opera, and for me, it's more important because how I began, I didn't have conservatoire or very rigorous academic studies,
You didn't
so
have that, right?
no, I didn't have that. I
Wow,
was
impressive.
mostly voice.
Yeah,
So
that's
maestra
cool.
saw that, and she ruled my studies into academic formation, but mostly artistic and voice-driven studies. And I
Hmm.
think that saved me a lot of time, to be honest. It's better
Hmm.
to have, in my opinion, it's better to have a mentor that understands you and help you with the things that you are going to need in a theater than to have a big musical formation. Of course, it's important. It will serve you at some point of your career, but you don't need a lot of ear training to learn Nemorino, for example. And it's more important to
Oh,
learn complete roles and to start singing than to fix yourself into the mechanics of music, in my opinion and
so
my experience.
no, great. So instead of going like to theoretical studies, you went straight to practice and started singing.
Yes, yes, because if you think about it, that's what all the people that we admire from the past, that's what they do. That's what they
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
They went to a big mentor, being Caruso, Rosa Poncelle, of these very old singers. They didn't have all these conservatory. They have a mentor who teach them how to sing,
true.
and they have this music in their soul, to say it in a poetical way.
You know, there's a saying: if you want to sing, you go to sing. If you want to study, go to study. Yeah, just you need to
Exactly.
choose what you want. Yeah.
Exactly. You
So,
can, of
and
course, you can put it. You can do it parallel. You can learn to
hmm
sing and advance, because I didn't stop. I continue studying and preparing myself in the musical part
hmm
of singing. But you don't need to be a graduate. I mean, no teacher is going to ask you for your diploma when they are contracting
so
you.
they don't ask for the diploma when accept
No,
your theater, right? When they get the
no, no,
contract. Oh,
no. They ask you how
oh,
to. They ask you to sing an aria, and if you can sing it, they will give you a contract.
perfect, perfect. By the way, you know, of course, you know that many singers they have some struggles with opera technique. And what
Mhm.
about you? Did you have any technical difficulties at the beginning of your journey, of your career? And if you did, how did you overcome them?
Yes, I had a very difficult problem with intonation. I always had very easy high notes, maybe because
Mm-hmm.
I was a heavy metal singing, and that's all high notes.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was easy. Everything after the la, it was easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of problems from the central do re mi right before the passaggio. That was always low.
Mm-hmm.
So how I overcome this? Learning how to do a proper passage, how to prepare, when to open, when to close. Exactly. For me, my passage is exactly at fa, natural fa,
Mm-hmm.
and when I learned that I had to cover there and not before, I wasn't low anymore. So learning the mechanics of your voice, because every voice is different. I have friends that are
Mm-hmm.
tenors who has passaggio in mi, not in fa. There are people who have it in sol. So when you learn exactly your breaking point of the voice, you are 80% in the way of having a good intonation.
Perfect. And that was just the only problem you had, right? You say
The well,
the intonation.
yeah, technically, for technique, that was my biggest problem. The other problems I had was more of inexperience and style. Also, there are many problems that are derived from not knowing what you're singing. Like sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
think, no, this is not for me. No, maybe it's for you, but you don't know it enough yet.
How did you get your first agent? And just how can you get an agent if you're in Europe, or if you're a Russian singer, how can you get an agent?
Mhm. I think that. The nationality, when you get an agent, doesn't matter very much because I am not Italian or Spanish or French. I am Venezuelan. Like many people in Europe doesn't even know where that country is. When I got my first agent was after a competition. After a competition that I did, this person was in he wasn't in the jury. He was looking for singers because agents go to competitions to look for singers, and he proposed me one contract in a place. He told me, okay, go to do the audition. I did the audition, I won the contract, and then we started working. It was really easy and straightforward.
So that is the easiest way to get an agent for a beginner. That is like to go to a contest, try to win
Yes.
it, at least to
No,
pop
no,
up and
not even win it. And you have to go to the most competitions you can and at least arrive to the final, because competitions, if you win, is great because you recover the money you spent. But the thing with the agents is that they're not mostly interested. They're, of course, they want the winner, but even if you don't win and you have the right voice for the contract that they are searching, they're going to pick you. You win or don't win, that doesn't matter. So
and
when you go to a competition, you have to see it as a big audition. You have a lot of important people in the industry, like artistic managers, that if you don't go to that competition, you will have to go to the theater to sing to that person only. So when you sing in a
so
competition, it's an audition for a lot of people, and you save yourself a lot of money traveling that way.
yeah, true. So just replace the word our like contest in a hat into audition and go there.
Exactly.
And what about a good agent? How can you differ a good agent from a bad one?
A good agent from a bad one, there is it's a very difficult way to say it, because if you're not a person who's if you're not a person who was born into the industry, it's very difficult to know who is who and who is well,
True.
unless you have a person who guides you with these people. No, don't go there, go this or whatever. It's very difficult to know, because everybody has, even the worst ones have something in their curriculum, good contact in the theater. Some agents that are not the most trusted over the biggest ones sometimes are more beneficial to you, because the biggest ones have the biggest stars, and they're not going to pay that much attention to you. So maybe a smaller agent was going to work more for you. So the difference in a good agent and a bad agent is the one who makes more contracts to you. That's the only measure that really matters.
And actually, if you just start, if you're a beginner, whatever agent is going to be good for you.
What kind of agent is going to be good for you?
I didn't mean that. I mean, like, if you're just starting, if you're a beginner, whatever agent is going to be good for you, because better to have whatever agent than having nothing, right?
If you sometimes you don't get to pick, because most of the time the agents
You don't have
pick
choice.
you. And okay, you go with the first one. What I will say, don't sign any exclusivity contract. Like if they find you something, you go and work and everything. And if someone better comes and with more work, you work with them. So my advice will be work with everybody. Work with everybody. The best contract can come from the most unexpected place. So don't be picky about, no, I'm waiting for to work with in art or this. That will come. That will come only if you are economically viable for these big agencies. You need to prove that you can make money by yourself and that you can generate interest in the people before these big agencies, take you into account.
Just market, nothing personal.
Yeah. Easy. You're a product who sings. That's it.
Yeah, probably you can sing, but nothing special. And actually, about contracts and agents, who decides the singer's fee, the agent or the singer? or the
Mostly the
theater?
theaters. Mostly
The
the theaters.
theaters.
The theaters, they have their numbers that what are they willing to pay, and
Hmm.
the agent then send you the number, and then you decide if you want to do it because you need the experience or you need uh, the exposure, or if it's good
Hmm.
money you do it for everything. But sometimes even now in my career I get contracts that are below my fee because I
Hmm.
think it's going to be good for the future. So you need also to take into account which colleagues are working with you, with
Hmm.
conductors, with registers, what contacts, because contacts are very important. Like some of the biggest contracts I made in my life wasn't by the way of the agent, but because some colleague who saw my work personally recommend me.
Oh, good. But what if, for example, you get a contract and you think like, oh, I need more money actually. Who's going to talk about that? You or your agent?
Your agent. Your
Your
agent is
agent.
of course, you speak to your agent, you tell him that
Hmm.
this, and he will discuss it with you. Like, no, no, this is
Hmm.
not possible. Or if it's possible, he is going to speak to the theater and try to pull his influence.
Hmm. Great. Great. Okay, so let's continue. And you talked about competition. So the easiest way to start a career, to build a career, solid career for beginner, it's like contests, right? No other way.
Yes. For yeah, I think there is no other way because it's your first exposure to the industry. You need
Hmm.
to get out there. Like if you had a good teacher in the conservator who was like a legend of the opera and everything, he can get you straight to the agents. But even the agents are
Hmm.
going to ask you, but have you won something? Have you do something? So if you are not born into opera, the easiest, most faster way to get into the industry is through competitions.
Hmm.
But
So,
my advice is always don't think like you're going to win everything. Like it doesn't matter. It's a big audition.
hmm so participating is better than winning in this case. You can win
So,
more things. I mean, participating is better than
mhm.
winning. Don't focus on
Yes.
winning, just focus on
Yeah.
participating.
Focus on participating and singing your best. Like never,
Hmm.
if you can, if you're very competitive, go out of the room when the
Hmm.
other people are singing because you don't need that kind of pressure.
But actually, it's quite easy to participate in some European contests when you live in Europe. But when you live in Russia, it's quite difficult because first you need to get visa, second you need to buy like tickets and etc., and it costs lots of money.
I understand.
In this case, if you focus on looking for a good agent, can it be like this? You just find an agent somewhere on the internet and send your video, send your application to them. Does it work? And they
No,
decide
that
if they
doesn't.
want. Doesn't work.
No, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work because at some point they need to hear your voice live because they need to understand what kind of squeal or what kind of harmonics your voice
Mm.
have. You
Hmm.
cannot see that through video. Through video, you can see if you are like comfortable with the repertoire, if you have the range. But then we need to listen to the power of the voice, how you disinvolve yourself in a high pressure situation. So at some point, like every enterprise or endeavor in life, you need to invest time and money. So I know it's difficult, but from Russia, but trust me, it's even more difficult from South America. So you at some point have to come to Europe, do the competitions, and live here 2 months, 3 months. Take that time to really make the effort, and if it doesn't work, like you can come back always, but you need to get out there.
Hmm. So only love live audition, no video, no YouTube, no Instagram, because I
No,
heard.
I can do video now. I can do video
Yeah.
now because I have an extensive curriculum of theaters who confirm that I
Hmm.
am a viable product. But
Hmm.
before that, as a new singer, no, nobody's
Hmm.
going to take that very seriously.
By the way, you mentioned your curriculum. Should it be detailed or just some lines about your experience and that's all?
A little
How
bit of
detailed
your
should it be?
biography.
Hmm.
Not very detailed because if it's longer than 2 pages, the artistic management where they won't take the time to review it
To read it
because
all.
uh, remember, like these people have like a ton of curriculums every day on their desk,
Uh,
and people have TikTok attention span right now, so you have to make it one page, very precise,
mhm,
good photo, biography, short lines, and the roles that you have sung, the roles that you are prepared, that you are ready to debut but
mhm,
haven't debut, and in which theaters you did it. That's it.
mhm,
Not no more than that. One page, it's perfect. 2 page is stretching it a little bit, but also good if you have long experience.
mhm, mhm. Okay, good. And getting back to the agents, actually, it's this topic is extremely interesting. If you feel like you want to get rid of your agent, of a current agent, how do you do
Mm.
that? You go to the bar and like, okay, man, yeah, time's up, time's up.
No, imagine your relationship with that agent if you are close to him, because sometimes these people become also a little bit like mentors to you because they give you advice on career and
Hmm.
everything. But it's at the end it's just business. You have to see it a little bit like a situationship, not like a formal relationship. You can
Hmm.
finish with your relationship with an agent via a phone call, and that's like
Hmm.
perfectly okay. Uh, yeah, like it is not working for me. It has been months and I haven't had a contract. I have other offers. Thank you for your service. We'll keep in touch or not. It's really not that a big deal at the end. If they give you work, they produce money. If they don't, if they don't produce you work, they also don't make money. So if you are not getting contracts, the relationship is not worth it for anybody. So
Hmm.
if you don't finish, probably they will. So if you feel it's not going the way you want, you can give a call and end it.
And of course, you cannot have two agents at the same time.
No, yeah, you can. You can if you are
Oh.
not. Yes, if you are not signing. In fact, I work with an agent for Italy, and an agent for Spain, and an agent for the rest of the world.
Mm. Oh. Oh.
Yes. You can have an
Do they know
agent.
about each other?
Yes, of course. It's open relationship.
Sweden family. Sweden family.
Exactly. They know about each other. You have to be open about that because sometimes the agent in Italy, like, I have this contract in France, but you were already presented by the other people.
Hmm.
What doesn't look good or too serious is when two agents present you to the same theater. No, no. Everybody
Oh.
needs to
Hmm.
have their boundaries very
Hmm.
clear.
Hmm. Okay, interesting. Thank you. By the way, a different question.
Mhm.
You know that there are lots of opera studios, opera programs, theaters,
Yes.
but all of them usually they have an age limit under 30. But
Mhm.
I know many good singers that who start their careers at maybe 25, 26, 27, and by the age of 30, they're still been preparing, and
Mhm.
they're like they open their voices and they're ready to build a good career when they're like 32, 33. In this case, what should they do? Because lots of opportunities, they just cannot reach them. What
Yeah,
should they
I
do?
understand very well because I started studying opera at 27. So at 30, I was definitely
But
still
you made it.
preparing.
You made it.
Yeah.
You had 3 years.
Okay, if you are a 30-year-old singer who lost the opportunities of the opera studio and everything, make an
Hmm.
audition and go to a fixed work in a theater. That's better than any opera studio. You will have real life experience, and after you be there like 2 years, 3 years, like you really make experience and you make principal roles if that's your goal. Because there are singers who are very comfortable singing secondary roles, and that's okay. You can. I know people who have made a very successful career doing only Gaston and this kind of characters. Yes, yes, yes. I was impressed too.
What do you call this type of roles, like Gaston and small roles? In Russian language, we call them morji. What do you call
Mhm.
that?
In Italia, they call them coprimario, that is second to the primary role, or in English, secondary roles. But it's difficult because nobody dreams to be a Gaston. Everybody
Exactly.
dreams to be Alfredo. So when
Exactly.
a theater is searching for a Gaston, it's usually people who are not really well prepared or doesn't sing that well or doesn't look well. So if you are a Gaston who sings better than the Alfredo and you are very well presented and you're always on time with the music and everything, you will probably get more performance than the Alfredo,
Mhm.
because Alfredo, if you get a contract in the Teatro Real de Madrid, for example, who they do like 18 performance, you are not going to sing 18 Alfredos because it's
True.
impossible for the voice.
You're gonna
But
die for that.
exactly, you are going to have at most half of that. But Gaston, we're going to sing the 18. He has
Oh,
a he has a
and
smaller fee
Gaston
than
makes more
you.
money than Alfredo at the end of the day.
Bravo. He has a smaller fee than you, but at the
Mhm.
end he sang too much, so much that he's going to have more money than you. So don't think that you are doing less because you are doing a secondary role. Everything is experience, and the most important is to be on stage.
Mhm. So, uh, it's okay actually for a starter, for a beginner, to start with Gastons for the secondary roles, because
Of course.
like young singers, they're like, oh no, I want to take only the primary role and nothing less. If they give me like Gaston or something like that, no, I don't accept that. So it's not a good strategy.
No, it's not good strategy. Take it, do the best for you, because sometimes we are prepared vocally, but we are not prepared dramatically. One thing that young people seem to forget is that opera is acting also. Half of the opera is acting. Depending of the regista, is
Mhm.
even 70-30. For example, when a young singer tries to sing a very demanding acting role, like for example Faust, that you begin old and then you get these libertine young people, and then you have to regret from the deepest part of your soul. It's a very taxing role emotionally. Romeo, for example, Rodolfo, like, and if you're there like singing like it's a concert, you're not ready for this kind of stuff. So it's better to get experience with the small roles, and then you do principal roles that are not so intelligently written, like for example comedic roles. You have to have it in you, but it's not like doing Othello or Radames. You don't need that depth of interpretation. So begin with smaller roles, then go to the young hero roles, and then after you have like good 3-5 years of experience, you can tackle the more demanding artistic roles.
Yeah, but there is like you can stuck in the secondary roles actually, and you can sing there for the rest of your life.
No, 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 no. That's not true. Like it can happen if you feel comfortable and you only accept this kind of roles.
And and you realize, actually, I make more money than Alfredo. What should I do next?
You have to think about that, because not everybody is prepared to the life of a soloist. It's
Mhm.
a big responsibility, it's a big stress, and not everybody lives it very good. So sometimes if you feel better singing secondary roles and you make good money doing that, like, be my guest. Theaters also need good secondary roles.
True. But what about the first role, the soloist? What makes a good soloist? What is a complex of a good soloist? Like a singer who is going to make a
Mhm,
good career, to be the like number first, and he's going to be invited to the all opera houses. Not just the
mhm.
voice, of course, not just the voice.
Yes. No,
Also,
not just the voice. You need to, okay, let's start with the most basic to the
yeah.
most personal kind of opinion. The most basic, you need to be good with languages. You need to have a good pronunciation, like a perfect pronunciation. I know
Um,
my, yes?
go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay. For example, if you are going to sing Italian repertoire, it's better if you speak good Italian. You have to if you don't speak French, you have to pronounce very good the French. Like, and I think one of the in my personal experience, one of the things that I saw in young Russian singers that I have worked with, it's a little bit of imprecision with the languages. It's like they get so focused into the voice that
Hmm.
they like brush over these important details.
What do you mean the languages in this case? The opportunity, like the ability to sing well, to pronounce well while singing, or the
Yes,
ability to speak, communicate with, I don't know, with the cast, with people around you.
No, no, because most of the people, international singers that I have worked, even Russian ones, they have very good English, so
Mhm.
that's not a problem to communicate between us. But mostly when they are going to sing, their Italian vowels not sound not very pure. I had a experience with a soprano that he was singing Desdemona and he presented that he was going to sing Atiela and it's
Yeah.
Otello. You understand?
Like
So
Luciano Pavarotti's song "Ochi Chornia" in Russian. That was so fun.
exactly, that's horrible, and shame on him too.
But we forgive him. Yep.
Exactly, but we are not Pavarottis. There is no Pavarotti anymore. The era of the divas and the superstars is mostly dying. So
But
I
why?
think
Why is it
that
like that? Because the opera becomes a market, or why? Because nobody needs the superstars, or what?
no,
Why?
they're superstars. The problem is that the opera used to be a very secluded kind of music genre
Hmm.
before Pavarotti and the three tenors and everything. Then it opened to the world, and then as every pop fashion, it fade out. And we're again the secluded world. There are big superstars, Anna Netrebko, Ildar Brasakov, Jonas Kaufman. There are big stars, but for us, the theaters are full
Yeah.
of people who study opera.
Yeah, for this closed circle. Yeah.
Exactly. It's
We're
a
widely famous, but in closed circle.
exactly widely famous, but in a elite,
Yeah, in
to
elite.
say it in a way.
Yeah, it's good to know that we're elite. So
Eh,
you mentioned that to become like number one in this profession in this area, to become a good singer, to be invited on all the opera houses, you just
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't finish my
languages,
answer.
good voice, yeah.
Language is very important because you really need, because the one thing, the language is what connects your vocal talent to your interpretation talent. So if you
Hmm.
are completely sure of what you are saying, you are going to have the right mannerisms
For
when
sure.
you sing that kind of thing. So you need to be completely sure of the meaning of the word, not only the translation, but of the meaning of the phrase. You have to be very intelligent in this kind of way and to pronounce it perfectly, because it's disrespectful for a country like, I'm not going to Russia to sing Ochichorny. I'm going to prepare myself with Russian coach to show my respect to these people who are contracting me and who are giving me the opportunity to listen to their music in my foreign voice.
Hmm. Good.
So that's very important, pronunciation and meaning of the of what you're saying. Second, appearance. Like, it doesn't matter if you are tall, short, fat, but you have to be well presented. Like, cut your hair, do your beard, use perfume. Like, it's basic, but
Please, guys, don't stink.
Exactly. No, yeah. Don't eat a doner kebab before
Yeah.
audition because everybody's going to smell that. Don't smoke near the other singers. Like, this really
There's
basic
basic etiquette.
hygiene
I think.
goes a long way because it's so basic that people think it doesn't matter, but it matters. You don't know how many times I have this comment about a soprano that has a very bad experience because the tenor, when kissed her, smell like onions. Like, no.
Oh my goodness.
Remember that you are close, very close physically to another human being, and it's disrespectful to not be in your best way. Also, giving yourself the importance to dress well, to present yourself in a correct manner give you the security to sing your best. Because if you feel well, it's a very subjective and emotional work. And if you feel well with yourself, you are going to sing better.
Hmm. And by the way, talking about sing better and voice and etc. To preserve
Mhm.
your voice, from damaging. Uh,
Yes.
Walking in the theater, sometimes you are given different parts, different roles, and
Yes.
probably these parts, these roles are not for you. For example, if you sing Alfredo and they ask you to sing German, for example,
Mhm.
from Down the Pig. In this case, what should you do? You realize that, oh, it's gonna ruin my career, it's gonna ruin my voice if I sing that several times. But and at the same time, you're
Mhm.
you're going on a very thin edge because
Yes.
on one hand you can ruin your voice, from other hand
Mhm.
ruin a relationship with the head, with administrations, with the administrator, etc.
Mhm. Okay, it's a complicated situation. I understand, but if you are in a very serious in a serious theater, it's almost impossible that if they listen to you singing Alfredo, they are going to give you German, because they have people for every kind of role. Yeah, and Alfredo is mostly a young person who has
Mhm.
a lyric voice or lirico spinto
Yeah,
voice, and German is the Russian equivalent to Otello in Italian.
true.
So it's for the more experience, but it can happen that, for example, it happened to me that I was doing Don Pasquale when I was beginning my career, and they offered me to sing Pinkerton.
Oh,
Very, yeah, big difference.
big difference, big difference.
Big difference.
Two big differences,
So
as they say.
exactly. I did all the rehearsals. I went to the general and everything, but I at the end had to cancel for other compromises that I have. I didn't need the Pinkerton, but it didn't hurt my voice. It didn't cause me any problems because I wasn't pushing. Like, you need to understand your voice and to sing with your own voice, so you don't have this pretensions of being other than yourself.
Hmm.
Like, if you sing Pinkerton or German with the same voice you sing Duca or Alfredo, it's going to sound like Duca and Alfredo, of course, because
True.
that's your voice. But you're
Yeah.
not going to ruin yourself, and you're going to finish that performance without problem if you are forced to do it.
Hmm.
If you are not forced to do it, please don't. Don't accept these kind of things, because it also looks bad in your curriculum. It's like, so this person is not serious, he sings whatever they give him.
So like it's true, too many different styles, this into different roles, and like he doesn't know or she doesn't know what she sings, what they sing. How can we
Exactly.
accept them? True.
Exactly. There are people who are like phenomenons, like Maria Callas, that she did like the most crazy Rossini coloratura, and then she did the most difficult Puccini roles. But that's not look good in a industry driven but like right now, that was more like an artistical feat of power.
Mhm.
Right now it looks like, well, who these people thinks he is.
Yeah.
Like, please be in your lane.
But is it better? It is better to stick on one kind of repertoire, for example, singing Mozart or singing Verdi, or what would you consult to the guys? Like try
When you're big,
everything and then
okay.
realize what's better to you?
Yes, I think that you have to specialize in something. You need to get to work with something and learn it very well because usually composers take from one another. You are
Mhm.
going to learn a lot of singing Mozart, but you are also going to learn a lot singing bel canto, like Donizetti, Bellini, Rossini. This kind is going to teach you very well about the line, and then you can tackle Verdi, Puccini if your voice allows that. But I think you need to specialize in something and then make experiments with other composers.
Yeah, a good thing back because I know one guy. He's a Russian guy, and
Mhm,
he says that no, I sing only Mozart. Now he lives in Italy. I sing only
mhm.
Mozart, and I don't sing anything else. And for quite a lot of time, for quite much time, he doesn't have any contracts.
Yes. Also, I think it's artistically boring to be singing just one kind of music. Like music is so big, so with this variety, like the Mozart tenor, for example, is mostly the same guy in every role. So
Yeah.
you don't get to experience how good an actor you can be singing only Mozart. Maybe if you are like Daniel Day-Lewis, the American actor, you find this color that nobody imagined. But for normal people, it's better to experience other composers, other kind of music, and other kind of roles.
Yeah, I agree. I agree in this case. Um, you had such a good career, such a vast experience, and you've been working with lots of singers from Italy, from France, from different countries, and with Russians, of course. According to your opinion, what is the thing, uh, either anything that, in your opinion, Russian singing is often lack while singing in Europe, for example, and what are their stronger sides?
Okay, I'm going to start with the strongest side. Strongest
Thank you.
side. For me, the raw material of the voices that I have listened for Russian singers is amazing. Like most of the things that are lacking, because I cannot generalize that all Russian singers lack this or that, but I can generalize that most of the Russian singers that I've heard had amazing natural voices. Amazing. Really, I don't know what you're eating there, but it's working. Keep doing that. But sometimes, because you have these big natural resources, you get a little bit complacent or lazy with the study, with the languages.
Languages. Yeah.
Languages very important. So I think this is mostly the thing, languages and the study. Because most of you have like a very good precision in also one very good thing. I see that you're very well prepared in solfeggio and music in general. But then the traditions, the style, this is a thing that also needs to be studied. You need
True,
to
but usually
listen
it
to
goes
a
beyond
lot.
us.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You need to enjoy this kind of music, because I can see in the eyes of people, sometimes you see people who sing very well, but this is just business for them. It's not like something that they are going to listen in their house when they have free time. So if you don't have this kind of passion, at least find a good repertoarist who teach you the style, because that's very important. If not, you are going always to have this foreigner sound.
Hmm. 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 So, but do Russian singers have a thick accent while singing, or they don't?
The younger ones, they do. The more experienced one, they don't.
Okay, okay, I see that. By the way, you said that it's not good. For example, you take it as a business when you come home and you don't listen to this business of arias or classical music. When you come home, do you listen to classical music?
Yes, I
Oh.
listen to classical music. Like, for example, I have this guilty pleasure to listen to the roles that I know I'm not going to sing. For example,
Do you listen to your own recordings and areas?
yes, I do. I do. Sometimes even for fun, because I
Ooh.
try to be. I am so specific about my training that
Mhm.
I try to please myself first. If I record something that I don't like, I continue working until I like it. and then I can listen to it with pleasure and not with regret or with mistakes or anything. Like your own voice needs to be pleasurable for you. If not, you're going to suffer. It doesn't make logic. You're doing something beautiful,
True.
so do it the best you can so you can enjoy it yourself.
But yeah, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is enjoying, not regretting about, oh, good, that nose was bad. No, 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 never again.
Yeah. Also, like, be kind to yourself, because like people are mean enough. So you don't need that negativity also within yourself. Always with you, good judgment, and to be fair and honest with you. It's not that I'm going to listen to my first recordings and say, oh, I was Pavarotti back then. No, I'm not even Pavarotti now. But you
Yet,
have to
not yet.
different. But you have to make difference between incompetent work and valid work. And when you pass the threshold of valid work, then you do art. And when you do art, you are permitted to enjoy your own voice.
Yeah, good point, actually. Good point. But do you practice daily? How much do you practice?
No, I don't practice daily because I have a routine that mimics a little bit fitness routine. You need a high intensity, short workout with the voice and good rest. Good rest because the voice needs to repair itself. It's muscles, tiny muscles who are rubbing itself. So it makes tears that need time to repair. And I only sing when I am very sure of what I'm singing. Once I decode the text, the pronunciation, the
Ah,
music, the
not just
style,
singing.
everything is, you feel it in your body, then I
Yeah.
sing. I don't use my voice for practice. I use my voice for singing.
So, because there is like a stereotype in our heads, because many singers, they start their musical career, not a singing career, as
Hmm.
pianist, as violinist. For example, I was a violinist. I used to be a violinist myself, but then decided
Hmm.
to change the profession and to become a singer. So, and in people who play some instruments, for example, piano, guitar, or violin, there is a huge stereotype that you need to practice at least 2-3 hours per day. It doesn't work for the singers. It doesn't work for singing.
No, it doesn't work for singers, in my opinion. Like I think that at most 3 hours a day, but 3 hours the day you are practicing. Because I try to do one day of singing, one day of rest, one day of singing, one day of rest, because I am always singing in theater. So I
Yeah.
don't need to be
So
in
you
my
don't end
house.
up singing at theater and singing at home. It's different for you, right?
Yeah, it's different.
Different.
It's
Okay.
different. So I also need to save my voice a lot, and you need to learn how to study without voice, because sometimes you're going to be in a house or in a hotel and you're not going to be able to sing, but you also need to practice and
But what do
to.
you do in this case? You need to practice, but you cannot.
You cannot. The thing is that most of the things that you are going to need for singing, you can do it without voice. As I
Like,
told you, like, no, no, not even that. Like, do think think
just
about
think
your,
of it.
yeah, think about your dynamics. Think
Yeah.
about, this is piano, this is forte. I'm going to do legato in this phrase. Like, really design your phrases. For
Ah.
example, there are many ways to sing La donna è mobile, qual più mal vento, muta d'accento e di pensiero. That's one way, 4 bars in a one phrase. There are other people who, La donna è mobile, qual più mal vento, muta d'accento e di pensiero, sempre una and then you continue. So think about those things before you put it in your throat. And
Good
then
point.
when you have this libretto done with all the dynamics, all the things and everything, then you sing. And it's so much easier and everything is so clear that you build a correct muscle memory. Because the problem with singing without brain is that you create problems that shouldn't be there, or technical problems that you already resolved in the past come back because you're not sure what you're doing.
Yeah. So you need to sing not hard but smart
Bravo. Exactly.
in a smart way. Perfect. Perfect. There was one question just on the tip of my tongue, but it slipped my mind. One tenor asked me
Mhm.
to ask you, how do beginner, for example, tenor, how can they reach the high register, for example, C, Do, and
See,
etc.? How do you make it?
There are many ways. Like as I told you, there are people who have it naturally. I was blessed with a very high natural voice. So when I started studying, I can arrive to a fa from Puritani, these kind of things. So I never really struggle with high notes, but I know
Lucky
people who
you.
do.
Lucky you.
Yes, yes. Lucky
Sometimes they
me.
ask you, how do you do that? And like, I don't know, it just comes naturally.
Yes, yes, yes. It came naturally, but I struggled with the center. So, like most of the
Interesting.
opera, I was very bad. But when the high note came, I was like, yeah, bro, I can do it.
Extraordinary, you know?
Exactly. But sometimes, for me, the way to arrive to the high notes when you don't have it naturally is to build a strong center. You need to
Mhm.
vocalize a lot before the passaggio. You need to
Mhm.
understand where is your breaking point so you can start cover in that way.
Mhm.
And vocalize a lot to have a strong center because the center is the where you pass most of the time in any opera. So
Mhm.
you need to learn how to sing in this part open, comfortable, because the high notes are mostly preparation. A high note, even if you have it easily, if you don't prepare it well before,
Mhm.
it will going to come strain, small, wobbly. So you sing a very good center, very solid center, and then when you cover, don't try to mask or to make it so equal as a tenor, because there is a clear difference between the on cover and the cover voice, and that's okay. You have to make peace with that. You're not going to have this homogeneous voice like other voices, like a soprano or like a baritone, because it's a different kind of technique.
Mhm.
So learn where your passaggio is and build a strong center, and then the high notes will come.
Will come because you know many singers, especially beginners, they think, okay, I have some problems with high notes, okay, and I attack them, attack and attack. And
Mhm,
you take, for example, if you're a tenor, you
mhm.
try this la or si bemol several times, and then you just have no voice at all. So,
Yeah, but you know, the thing is that people used to think that as high notes as a separate entity, and
yeah.
not. High notes are always in a context. You know, sometimes when you go to a master class with a maestro and everything, and you are doing a phrase and you arrive very tired for the high note, and the
Hmm.
maestro tells you to stop. And
Hmm.
then he makes you sing the high note alone after you stop. Of course, you're going to do it.
It's a
You're
good technique,
rested.
yeah, because you
You rest.
relaxed. Yeah, you
Exactly.
rest.
You relax. But now sing it everything again with his advice and sing a good high note. Maybe you can't because you don't have the stamina to sing that thing.
Uh,
So you have to see high notes into a
in the context.
context.
Yeah.
You earn the high note. You work your way through the center with healthy singing. You prepare the
Mhm.
high note, and then the high note will come. Don't think that you are going to rush to go to the high note because it's going to be strained. Prepare it well, prepare yourself, and sing intelligently.
So just work on a central, work on this central of diapason before the passaggio,
Yes,
and then will come. This will
yes.
come. Good, good.
And breathing also. Try to bring your breathing, in fact, principally breathing, because one of the highest problem of people is stamina. If you get agitated and everything closes, everything becomes tense, and this tension is going to hurt your high notes or whatever you are singing. So having a good relaxed breathing is the base for everything.
What do you mean good breathing? Because you know there are lots of ways, at least in Russian pedagogy, about breathing. You need to use your abdominals. You need to do there your ribs, and sometimes I realized that even good singers they don't realize how they breathe. So what can you say about
Yeah.
this?
I am very conscious about my own breathing, and it depends of the phrase I'm going to sing. Because as I telling you, it's it's part of everything. You cannot separate breathing from notes, from music, from it's part of an everything. So depending on the phrase I'm going to do, I breathe differently. If I'm going to do like a very long Puccinian phrase, like in Bohem, I will take the whole silence to breathe relaxedly long, because I know I have a long phrase to develop. But if I need a strong, explosive phrase like in Verdi or Donizetti, I'm going to take a big breath right before attacking the phrase. Like there is a difference when you're going to sing "Ma per fortuna una notte di luna, qui la luna." Sorry, my voice is not warm up,
No, it was
but
perfect.
I'm trying to show you how.
Mhm.
And for example, when I'm going to attack "Addio, addio, speranza d'animo," short, big energy, big voice. So also short breathing, like a quick yawn, like, and then you go.
Mhm.
So more legato, you breathe with more patience, more relaxed, explosive energy, big jump quickly.
Mhm. When you feel like, for example, you need to sing something important and you feel like you're out of shape, but you need to
Mhm.
get back to the shape, what do you do? Like there is no way you can skip it. You need to sing it. What do you do?
There are many things that can be understood by out of shape. Sometimes you are just tired. You are just tired of all the work. Like for example, I had this summer 18 performances in 2 months. So yeah, at some point your body says like, "Bro, I'm not working with you today. You would see how you do it." So that's one of thing. Another thing is the throat. Like sometimes you have a throat affection or something, and
Yeah.
you cannot force it. But for example, when your body is not working with you, like try to sleep the most you can, and then do some fitness, and that usually wake up your body.
Mhm.
If your throat hurts, there's really little that you can do. Sometimes you can try to sing economically, like use medicine. In the worst case scenario, you use steroids, but I don't recommend this kind of stuff because you're going to pay for it in the long run, only if you cannot avoid not singing. But I try to not put myself in situations that going to strain my voice so much that I need to do these things. I try to plan my schedule and everything in a way that I am always in a healthy way.
Mhm. Got you. Got you. And if you have some important performance, do you avoid eating some stuff, for example, dairy, some milk, anything, or it's okay for you
The-
can consume everything?
this is very interesting because everybody has a different way of attacking this. I have friends that doesn't eat the whole day because they don't want to ruin their thing. I think that the fitness approach is also the best here. Like a good meal with mostly carbohydrates before singing is good because you get this burst of energy. Like a plate of pasta is not going to harm you in any way. It's going to give you
Not at
uh,
all.
exactly. But for if you are intolerant to lactose, yes, of course, don't eat
Mhm.
cheese. What I would recommend, like, don't do spicy food because the spicy food hurts really the throat.
Mhm.
So there is no benefit to that. Try to eat clean and 2 hours before singing, so you will have energy for the performance
Mhm.
and have
Great.
always something to snack in the pause on everything, because sometimes there are operas that are very demanding in the first act and you are exhausted and you need to refuel for the next act.
Great, thank you. Because I heard from some people that they cannot drink milk before the performance. Some people need to eat like a good steak before the performance, and so it's
Yeah, a good steak is amazing if you can tolerate it, if you don't, if you can digest it, because what is not fun is to have food dancing in your stomach while you're
True.
climbing a ladder to sing a high note. So if
True.
it's really personal, depends on your body and what you can do. But as everything that is demanding physically, I think the safest advice I can give is take it as a fitness. What will you eat before going to the gym? That it's also going to
Yeah.
be the same that you should eat before going to sing, because you are going to do an stressful and strenuous effort with
Mhm.
different muscles, but at the end are muscles.
So actually, singing is fitness.
Yes, in a way it is.
Oh. Well, at least actually, a good steak is always good, even if you don't have any performances tonight. It's still
Of
good.
course, it's a treat. I usually have
Yeah.
the steak after the performance as a prize.
Yeah, true. And by the way, dear guys, maybe some of you have your own questions to our dear guest. Maybe you would like to ask something special, interesting. Guys, girls. So, Sonia, I see they're here. And okay, Yelena wants to ask something, please.
Mhm.
I just said you've asked so much. We already know everything.
Um, by the way, that was my personal question. I'm so curious,
Mhm.
in Russia, we have, when you have the last performance in a line or the last performance in a season, we call it the
Mhm.
green performance. You can do
Okay.
during this performance, you can do whatever you want. Like you can like play around, you can fool, you can trick your colleagues. Do you have anything like that in your theater and in Europe?
I can have that in my musical house. I am under a fixed contract in a theater, but in a special kind of contract. I have a number of performances a year, so I can travel and develop an international career too. But I think it's important to have a place that you feel safe to experiment, to do these kind of green
Yeah.
performances. But it's difficult to have that if you are only doing contracts and not staying in a place, if
Mhm.
you are one day in Milano, one day in Madrid, one day here, you are not going to build a relationship to have green performance.
Yeah.
But I think it's something funny, it's something amazing, and that the really good art can come from that.
But have you
Uh,
had that?
yes, I have had that last year. It was during La Boheme. We
Uh-huh.
played tricks between colleagues and everything, and we did things outside of the regia, and it's good because as an actor you need to be prepared to react to everything that is happening.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's also good practice because that things are going to happen to in normal performance because someone forget their line or their position, and you need to adapt to that.
Cool. But do you remember anything like funny, not that serious that happened to you? Maybe you did it on purpose, or maybe it happened casually.
Well, it's a little adult joke, but I remember in that poem they put from the fruits of the thing in the manicotto of Mimi. They put a banana, and when she get the manicotto, she grab it, and the Mimi was dying with a big smile because she couldn't get so serious about dying, knowing what they do.
What
Because
a good
also, exactly, she was dying and everything, and the other friends who were sad, they were looking at her like this. So it was a really embarrassing moment, but a good opportunity for how to say it. Sorry, to improvise.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
It's a
Yes. Say.
linguistical. So is it really called a green performance? Is it an idiomatic expression in English, just as well as in Russian?
Yeah.
No, I don't know because this is the first time I hear about it. I really don't know.
But what do you call this kind of performance when it's the last one and you can do whatever you want?
No,
Do you
I
have
did.
like
I
a
did.
special
I
style
didn't
for
know it
that?
was a thing. I am learning about
Ah,
it right now.
you just go to
But
the last
yeah,
one.
the last one, the final performance of the season, you get to be a little bit more free.
Hmm. Not that tensed. Do you have some roles that you would like to sing in the future, like so-called like a dream role?
Yeah, my dream role right now is Werther.
Wow,
I almost had the
impressive.
opportunity to sing it last year, but I got very sick and I couldn't go. I had to cancel, but it's
Okay.
a role that I have learned from a long time and that I dream to sing because the music is so beautiful and the character is very emotionally complicated, and I love that kind of characters. Like my last big opera was Faust, and it
Hmm.
took me a lot of time to get into character, to develop the mannerisms of the old guy and everything. So these kind of characters that challenge you in a mental and artistic way are the ones that I prefer. I feel Werther is one of those.
Cool, cool. So I wish you good luck with the role and with the spot. I'm pretty sure this will be 10 out of 10 for sure.
Thank you. I hope.
And what are you working currently on?
I am working right now in the with the Prince in Rusalka. It's
Uh-huh.
a Czech opera from Borjak. Most of you probably know. The language is giving me a very hard time because,
Yeah.
as I told you, I try to be very precise with languages. But it's a nice role. It's a little like verismo kind of role. It's not very lyric. So it's kind of an experiment. I already experiment with Cavaradossi. It was good, so that's why I took also this role to tackle a little bit more of the Verismo repertoire.
Whoa. And I'm pretty sure that you have sung something like in Russian, which is also a Slavic language. And does it help to you to sing in Czech, or it's completely different for you?
No, it's good. I haven't sing. I have sung Oczy Czarne, but not much else. I have sung arias in Bulgarian,
Hmm.
also Slavic language, but the Czech is totally their own thing. It's very different. It's like even my friend who's Bulgarian, who's doing Rusalka, she said like it's like listening Bulgarian for the first time. To a foreigner. It's very weird. Sometimes you have like four consonants before a vowel. So
Oh my goodness.
yes. So and you need to also it's this kind of language, but it's also very fluid when they speak. It's
Hmm.
not like German that is more like spaced out.
Fast, yeah.
This no, it's very legato. So they brush over these four consonants in a way that it's like how they do that. They're not even singing.
Cool.
So that's the most difficult part for me right now with this with the role. The music is also very particular. You have a lot of not clear entrances like 4x4, or you have a semichroma. Yeah, semichroma before sometimes you have a measure, complete measure in
Hmm.
the beginning, and then you have the short notes. No, so this you begin with the short note, and then you have the long, and then some more short notes. So the rhythms are very
Whoa. Looks like
difficult.
hell.
Yes, yes,
Hell for a
a
singer.
little bit Strauss style.
Yes, Rose. What kind of advice would you like to give to our participants? Some of them are beginners, some of them are already like singers with a career.
Mhm.
What would could you say to us?
My advice for them is going to be the thing that has helped me the most. More than being presented like this is obvious, but the thing that is not obvious, mostly for beginners, is learn whole roles. Don't stop at areas. Like from now, begin. You're singing Una furtiva lagrima, learn the whole thing. You are singing La Donna Mobile, learn the whole thing. Like, don't lose time only fixing into an area. If you're already able to sing the area, learn the whole role, because it's very difficult to transpose your ability into a whole role if you only sing arias. You need to get experience with duets, with tercets, with concertati, with the choir parts, how to administrate your voice in that times. You're only going to learn that with roles. And also you need to train your memory very, very quick and very fast. You need to develop an efficient way to study, because sometimes you're going to get contracts like in 2 weeks you need to debut Cavaradossi. Do you know it? And you lie, because that's what I did. I said, yeah, of course I know it. I only have seen Eluce Van Lestelle. And in 2 weeks I learned the whole thing and debuted it.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that happens, that happens. If you don't have the ability, you miss the opportunity. And who knows when you're going to get a new contract for Cavaradossi, if you're a lyric tenor, for example. So
Wow.
learn an efficient way to study, and learn whole roles. Concentrate in whole roles, not only in areas.
Oh my goodness. That's a good thing, actually, because usually now when we study at a college or a conservatory, we need to sing 5 areas, and we learn exactly 5 areas and not 5 parts. But instead, we could be richer, way richer.
No, don't fixate on what the conservatory asks you. Go always after that. Do your conservatory homework, do everything, and after that, dedicate 2 hours a day to learn roles. Because when you get out of the conservatory, you need to learn at least 5 roles entirely, perfectly, from memory, by heart. You need to have that, because if not, you're not prepared for career. You don't have nothing to offer if you don't have
Yeah,
full roles learned.
true. Even such small roles like Gaston, you still need
Yes.
to know that. They doesn't
Yeah,
have any areas, but still.
I will say learn 5 big and 3 smalls for plan B, because you need to start from somewhere.
Do you know that, maybe because we live in a 21st century, do you know any useful apps that you use to get prepared? For example, instead of using a pianist, maybe you use some app on your tablet or anything.
There is a guy who, when I am in a rush to learn something, I use his recordings. Is Opera Tracks. The web page is called Opera Tracks. You buy the track, and the guy plays the piano, plays the bass of the piano, and he plays over your part in a
Mhm.
very solid, like pure solfeggio. So you remember it, you study with it, and it gets easier. But after that, you need to add, as after you learn it in pure solfeggio, you need to still add the diminuendi, the accelerando, the dynamics, and the tempo. But it's a good way to speed up the process. Other than that, I think most apps are just gimmicks. You still need to put the work yourself.
Talking about speeding the period, you say that you learned Cavaradossi in 2 weeks, which is amazing result. How did you get that? And do you have any secrets of this speedy learning?
Speedy learning. Okay. I study as a musician, how you told me, like 6 hours a day, violinist, but I didn't sing for 6 hours, because I knew I was going to be done and my voice wouldn't get there. So I use, I learned the text first. I learned the text, I recite it like a poem, like if I will say it in a drama opera. Uh, as a drama work, I learned the text very well. And then I started with the music, put the text into rhythm, and then add the notes. Like I didn't try to multitask. I like only text until it was perfect, only text with rhythm until it was perfect, and then notes until it was perfect. And then I work with a coach, with a pianist and a vocal coach together in the same room for many days. So after I knew I didn't have any objective errors, I went to them, and then they give me style and everything, because if I had to do it alone, it will take me more time. But if I do my work alone and then go with people who know these roles very well, you're going to get an instant feedback and correct very
Mhm.
quickly. So I say, like, do the basics by yourself until you know it by heart, and then ask for help. That's the only way to do it quick.
That's how you made it in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Impressive. Impressive.
It costs money because pianists cost money and vocal coaches cost money.
Whoa.
But remember that you're condensing a 3-month period. That is what takes in 2 weeks. So what you were budgeting for classes in 3 months, budget in 2 weeks.
Yeah, in this profession, you invest a lot into this profession before it starts getting you like money back.
Exactly. And you need to make peace with that. Nothing comes for free. People, times, and experience cost money because your cost will cost too.
Yeah.
So you need to pay for classes, you need to pay for traveling, you need to pay for hotels and everything, because when you get to work, you're going to make good money and your investment is going to return.
Yeah, and it's gonna pay back. It's gonna pay back for
Mhm.
sure. Well, thank you so much for our conversation. We've been talking like for an hour and around 1 hour and a half, but it went like 10 minutes for me. It was
Yes, for me too, it was very
It
nice.
was so interesting, and thank you for your time. Thank you for your help. Thank you for agreeing on our meeting. It was so cool to see you. I think our guys think the same thing, and maybe if you don't mind, that would be so cool to see you again, maybe in future. Who knows? Maybe with different people, or maybe do the same if they will. I don't know what to add, guys, girls in this case, because we're lots of girls. Do you have anything to add? Galina wanted to ask something. If you see
Mhm.
here.
Yes. I wanted to ask. Hello, Reinaldo. My name is
Hello,
Galina.
Galina.
Actually, I'm not a singer. I'm a pianist, but I think it's a relevant question for everyone. What percentage, maximum percentage of the fee can agent take?
Usually they take 10% of the brute fee. For example, before taxes, 10% of the fee before taxes. That's the industry standard. Some agents that are very big, like Ariosi or in art management, they can offer a different kind of contract, but these people bring so much work and so big fees that is still worth it. But normally it's 10% of the fee before taxes.
What do you mean, bigger persons? For example, 20 or?
Yeah, 20, 30 even. But this is people who are bringing thousands and thousands of euros to your table. So it can happen. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. But mostly you're going to find this 10% number is the industry standard.
Okay, thank you a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah. When you started talking about money and fees, one thing came to my mind. If you're preparing for a contest with a pianist, what about the
Mhm.
percentage of a potential money that you will win? You need to divide with your pianist 50-50 or like 20-80?
No, I have never divided my price with nobody.
No, because for
No,
example,
because I
oh,
pay
yeah.
the pianist for their
Mhm.
time, and that's it. I pay
Understood.
pianists never work for free for me. I always pay their fee, and that's it. The preparation that I got is for the money I gave them. So at the end, if the pianist goes and plays for you in the competition, you have to pay them. You win or not win, you have
Yeah.
to pay them for their work. But it's not like I paid you from my price or anything. No, your price is yours. You are the one singing.
That's a good approach because in Russia we have this not a stereotype but a thing. If you're preparing with a pianist,
Mhm.
and it's like a good manner, I think a good manner to pay them to divide your price with them. And I remember
Who?
there was one
Mhm.
contest. I went there and I got the first prize, and they gave me 5,000 euros. And the pianist who was walking there at the contest, so he wasn't my pianist. I had never seen him before this contest.
Mhm.
He was like, he texted me after he found out I won the contest. Okay,
Mhm.
I congratulate you on the first prize. It's good. Don't please forget about 10%. Can you imagine this no
The
name? I had never
audacity
seen
of
him.
these people.
Of course, he's not
Come
just no
on.
name. He has like a huge name in this area in Russia, Russian music.
Yeah.
But it was like, what the fuck? You want 500 euros from me for what? Just for the fact that
Doing
I
your work.
did it before that for your work? You are paid for
Mhm.
that.
Of course. No, that's absurd. I wouldn't let that happen. And if someone texts me something like that, I will thanks them like profusely, like Maestro, thank you very much for your time of your work, but you didn't sing for me, so please behave. That's it.
Yeah, I think we should act in a European way here more.
I think yeah, I think it's better to pay the pianist their fee and that's it.
That's it.
Because like if you are going to a theater and you do an amazing note that it's better than everything, it's not that they're going to give you more money. Like the what you agree is what it is. You sing
Yeah.
well or sing bad, that is the money. So I think that clear approach with money it's better in the long run, so everybody's happy and know what it's worth.
Yeah. Yeah. A good way. Good way. Well, thank you again for your time. That was so cool to see you and to meet you. We all wish you to have a good preparing for your role, and we'll be waiting. I ask all the guys and girls to subscribe onto your YouTube, onto your Instagram page. So we'll be waiting for your performance and Wörter. And
I hope
yeah,
sometime next year. Let's see.
fingers crossed, and everything will be fine. Thank you. That was so cool.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It was a great time, and I hope to see you again soon.
So, and welcome to St. Petersburg anytime you want. Yeah.
Thank you. I try to go.
Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Good. Okay. Ciao, ciao.